Aw, hi, doggo. Put one weight just kind of off to the side near your mat so that when we get down on the ground, you don't have to go scrambling around to find it. So just one weight will do the trick. All right, cool. So the first thing we're going to do before we come down onto the ground is just to make sure that our spine is a little bit warm. So just give a couple little twists with your arms. All right, cool. And then give a couple little twirls of your wrists because we're going to do a couple of weight bearing on the wrist. So just twirl your wrist in one direction and then twirl your wrist the other way. Cool, and then give them just a nice little shake just to make sure there's a little blood flow down to the fingers, down to the wrist. And then we're going to take it into a couple of nice big arm circles, make sure the shoulders feel warmed up. And then a couple of arm circles the other way. Awesome. And then to finish that little bit of warm up blood flow down to the hands, we're going to tuck the fingers in behind the thumb, or behind the thumbs, and give a couple of little flicks. So flick your fingers against your thumb and just get that muscles in the fingers and the muscles in the hands just warming up. And time. Nice. Give it all a good shake. Come down into a tabletop position. And in our tabletop position, first things first, we're going to take it into some 30 seconds of cat-cow. So we're just going to move the spine, drop your belly, lift your chest, lift your tailbone, and then round your back and tuck your chin into your chest. And then if you like doing a little breath connection with your work, you're going to inhale as your belly drops and exhale as you round your back. 10 more seconds here. Nice. Now for the next 30 seconds in tabletop position, it's going to be scapular push-ups. So you're just going to squeeze your shoulder blades, chest's going to drop down just a little bit, and then push away from the floor, shoulders are going to round just a little bit. So all the work is happening up in the shoulders. We drop the chest and squeeze the shoulder blades, and then push away from the floor and round. We got 30 seconds of work here. Nice, you guys. That looks wonderful. You got 10 seconds left. And time. Awesome. Now we're going to take it into bird dog. So if you like, you can always just slide the hands out, keeping connected to the floor. So opposite hand to opposite foot can slide out. And if that feels great and you want to do that extra bit of work, you're going to lift it up and then bring it back down, trying to keep your center fairly firm. So most of the movement is trying to come out of the hip joint and the shoulder joint, and everything else is staying fairly stable. Great. And then once you've got that motion down, you'll want to keep your head gaze down so that you keep that long line of your spine. Beautiful. You're already halfway there. Nice stability, you guys. Wow, you look amazing. Nice work. 5 seconds left. And time. Awesome job. Okay, next we're taking it into a crawl. So you can start by just keeping your hands and knees down, and you're just going to crawl forward and backward. It sounds like a weird movement, but it's super good for the back, and it moves the whole body. But if this feels like it's not quite enough work, and you can do a little bit more, curl your toes under, lift your knees up, and then start to crawl here. You want to keep your butt fairly down. So it's not a bear crawl with the butt way high lifted in the air. And we're just moving forward and back in a range of motion that feels good. If at any point the knees lifted feels like it's too much on the wrist, too much on the toes, put your knees back down. You're still crawling and you're still getting all that great work going on in the back side of the body. But if it feels good to keep the knees lifted, pick them up, walk yourself forward, and walk yourself back. Nice. You're already halfway there. Nice, Liz. Nice, Karen. Yes, you guys, beautiful. Nice, Mara. Woo! You guys are amazing. And time. Awesome. Bring it back into the middle of the mat. Drop those knees down. Option here to bring the elbows and forearms down. But if tabletop is working for you, stay there. We're going to take the right leg back. Keep the leg long. Lift the heel up. Lower it down. Keep a firmness in your center. We've got 30 seconds of work on this side. So you want to try and keep a nice level set of your hips and a level set of your shoulders, and start to just tune in and see if you can find the work coming from the back of your leg and from your glutes. 5 seconds left on this leg. And time. Slide that leg in, switch to the other leg. Slide it back, keep it long, lift your heel up, lower it down, and then start to find that control in your center. So the belly's slightly firm, shoulders are engaged, so they help keep that support. Five seconds left. And time. Nicely done. Okay, we're going to flip onto one side and then just have your weight handy. We're not going to use it for the first round, but we're going to keep our knees bent, elbow and forearm down, and see if you can just get your elbow slightly in line with your shoulder. We're going to lift the side body up. So think side plank. So the top hand is going to reach up. Your hips are going to lift, and then you're going to lower them right back down. We got 1 minute on the clock. You're lifting the hips up and lowering back down with control. If the elbow and forearm down doesn't feel like a comfortable position or not quite right for your shoulder, you always have the option to keep that top arm a little higher. But if you can keep the elbow and forearm down, keep a little bit of engagement in the shoulder, and then we're lifting from the side body. So find that engagement in the ribs and think about pulling those ribs up away from the floor as you reach up. Ten seconds left. And time. Nice. Stay in the sideline position. Keep your knees bent. Now grab your weight. You're just going to load your weight on the side of your thigh. The hand hold is just to keep the weight in place, and you're just going to lift that top knee up, lower it with control. So try to let the leg do the heavy lifting of the weight, and your hand is just gently holding it in place, but mostly your leg is doing all the work. So think side of the leg and the side of your glutes, and see if you can find that control there. And then as you're tuning in, just pay attention to your right side body, or the side that's down towards the ground, and just make sure it's not collapsing and sinking into the shoulders. So the side body wants to stay engaged. Shoulder stays engaged. Everything stays supported. Already halfway there. Beautiful, you guys. Nice work. Five seconds left. And time. Awesome. Set your weight off your thigh, flip around to the other side. I'm going to spin around just so that I can be facing out, but you flip around in any way that you like best. Elbow and forearm down, knees bent, and we're back to those hip lifts with that side plank position. So we lift the hips up away from the floor, lower with control. And then once you've got the positioning, top arm can reach up, and we lower with control. Think about pulling your ribs away from the earth and then lowering back down. Nice. You're already halfway there. Ten seconds left. You got this. And time. Awesome job. Set your hips down, grab your weight, load up your thigh, let your hand hold just be a light, gentle hold, and then away we go. Lift that top leg up, lower it back down. We got 1 minute on the clock. You're moving it at your pace. You're going to tune in and see if you can find that work coming out of the side of the leg and out of the side of your glutes. And you're going to keep those bottom ribs slightly lifted and engaged, and that bottom shoulder nice and supportive and engaged. Nice, you guys. That looks great. Ten seconds left. Woo! And time. Set your weights down. We're flipping over onto our backside and we're taking it into some good old school crunches. So with your knees bent, hands behind the head, keeping your elbows wide. You're going to pull the abdominal muscles down towards the spine, curl up the head, neck, and chest, and then come right back down. You're going to take it to the height that feels appropriate for your body. You're going to think about pulling your abdomen and your belly button towards your spine, and then find that little lift and that little crunch. If you can, try to keep the elbows wide. So most of the work is coming out of your abdomen, and it's not your arms helping to lift the head and the neck. Five seconds left here, but we're going to keep our hands behind the head. So when that timer goes, keep your hands behind the head. Lay back just for a second to rest. Pick up your knees, and now we're going to take it right into some bicycle crunches. So we're going to curl up the head, neck, and chest, and then we're going to alternate. Our legs are going to reach out, and shoulder is going to reach towards the knee. So think about pulling the shoulder up rather than reaching the elbow. You'll see the movement in the elbow, but think about reaching your shoulder. Ten more seconds of work here. All right, now you're going to lower your head down, grab the back of your right thigh, press your thigh into your hand, extend your left leg up. Left hand is going to come behind the head. You're going to curl up the head, neck, and chest. Keep it curled up. Keep pressing your thigh into the back of your hand as you lift and lower your left leg. 30 seconds of work here. And time. Nicely done. Pull both knees into your chest. Give yourself a little squeeze. And then we're right back to those bicycle crunches for 30 seconds. So hands behind the head. And then we start to extend one leg and the other. Think about pulling your shoulder towards your knee. We got 30 seconds here. 10 seconds left. You got this. And time. Lower your head down just for a breath. Grab the back of your left thigh, right hand behind your head. Right leg extends up. We curl up the head, neck, and chest. We push the back of the thigh into the hand. Keep that hand and thigh connection and lift and lower the right leg. A little energy out through the right toe, so we keep the right leg engaged. We're pressing the back of the thigh into the hand, and the head and chest stay slightly lifted. Nice, you guys, beautiful. And time. Awesome job. Lower it down or bring your knees into your chest. Give yourself a little squeeze. Okay, now comes our weird one, our one weird one for the day. So scoot your butt way down towards the end of your mat. We want to get a little gauge of where we're moving to. So once you've got your butt scooted down to the end of your mat, legs are going to be up, think dead bug position. Now, you might find at some point that the crawl that we're about to do doesn't feel good on your back, or you're not in a good environment for this, like you might be getting rug burn. If at any point it doesn't feel good, you're going to leave it off and just come into a dead bug and hold your dead bug. You're still going to get tons of work here. But if you can, you're going to start to try to crawl your way to the other end of your mat using your core to help crawl you there. Once you found the other end of your mat, if you can find the other end of your mat, you'll start to crawl back to where you started. Now, like I said, if this doesn't feel good, if you're getting rug burn, if you're just not in a good environment to be doing this, if your clothes aren't working for you today, stick with that dead bug position. But if you can crawl your way all the way back, start to notice that work that's happening in your center. Maybe even notice if you're making any distance across your mat. It's not an easy maneuver to do. And then if you found your way to the end of your mat and now you're working in the other direction, notice how the maneuver changes to go in that other direction. Woo! And then when you're ready, hug your knees into your chest, give yourself a little squeeze. Those are hard work. Okay, from here, we're gonna take it into just a little bit of fun. So we're gonna have some rock and rolls. We're gonna come up, find a little hold, take it back to a rock, come up and find a little hold. We got 1 minute on the clock. You're gonna do as many as you like. You might opt to do more rocks, or you might opt to do more holds. That'll be totally up to you. If you're struggling to find that momentum to get all the way up and hold, think about pushing the backs of your thighs into your hands stay engaged, and that might give you just enough structure to come to the top and find some good balance. Ten seconds left. And time. Nicely done. Come all the way up, sit yourself back, grab your weight. You're going to turn that weight sideways if you can. And we're just using it as a little guidepost. Hands are going to come behind the head. Head is going to press into the hands. We're going to keep a nice tall spine. And then we're going to do our little hip flexor hops. So we're just going to hop one leg over the weight and over the other way, and then take it to the other side. We're going to alternate our legs. We're just hopping over the weight, setting it back down. Keep a fairly wide position with your legs, and keep your head pressing into your hands into your head. So you maintain that nice tall posture. Nice work, you guys. Beautiful. 10 seconds left. You got this. Woo, and time. Nicely done. Come all the way up to a standing position and grab 2 weights. All right, we're going to take it into some squats. So you're going to choose the version of squats today that you like best. So it might be feet about hip width distance apart, maybe a slightly wider stance, or maybe you prefer a sumo squat with a super wide stance. So pick the one that you like best, or the one that you find the most work. Load up your shoulders, and then away we go. You're just going to sit your butt down and back. Keep your chest and chin lifted. Especially if you're keeping that hip width distance position, try to just keep a nice equal distance between your knees as you lower down and rise up. If you're taking that slightly more turned out position to make a little bit room, you can drop your butt a little bit deeper. But again, you want to keep the chest and chin lifted. Nice, you guys. And then if you're keeping that more sumo squat position with a wider position of the legs, then you want to maintain a nice outward pressing maneuver of the inner thighs. So knees are driving towards the pinky toes and tailbone is drawing down. So you're still getting good work in the legs, no matter which version you choose. And time. Awesome. Now we're going to take it into some staggered stance squats. So step your right foot slightly back, load up your shoulders, and now we're going to keep a nice pulling the butt down and back position. So then push your butt down, sit your butt down, come back up with control. We got 30 seconds on the clock, and then we'll switch the position of our legs. So you go as fast or as slow as you like. So one of the big differences here in our staggered stance squat compared to our deadlift is here we're sitting the butt down and back. In our deadlift, we'd push the butt back and hinge forward. So just make sure that you're sinking your butt down and hopefully finding a little work in the tops of your legs and your butt. All right, switch feet. And then away we go. Sit your butt down and come right back up. And time. Nice job. Next up, we're going to be doing our waitress hold, so that overhead hold. So if a lighter weight is going to work better for you in your shoulders, switch out. But we're going to take it into our figure 8 walking with our waitress carry. So arms up and overhead, and we're just going to start to walk a figure 8. So you're going to turn yourself around at the end of your mat and then crisscross at the center. As you start to get that movement pattern down, start to notice the movement in your knee joint and that little pushing off maneuver that happens as you turn. Keeping the arms raised up the whole time if you can. If at any point it's too much, you can always hold it out in front of your chest. But if it feels safe to keep it up and overhead, do the work there. Keeping a slight engagement in your center, so you're not wobbling all over the place as you do your figure 8. And then if you feel like you might get a little dizzy, reverse directions now. And time. Awesome job. Lower your arms, give them a good shake. We're going to take it into our Pilates stance or first position if you're a ballerina. So heels together, toes slightly turned out, like you're making a little pizza slice with your feet. And then once you've got your way there, we are going to take it into a little squat as we pull the weights up to the chin And then press the weights down as you zip up the inner thighs. We got 1 minute on the clock. You're gonna try and keep those heels together. Bend your knees, so it's a slight turnout, a little external rotation. Bend your knees, pull the weights up to your chin, and then lower them back down with control. Keep your belly zipped up. As you start to lower your tailbone down, curl the tailbone under, just so you find that nice, solid engagement in your center. Beautiful, you guys, nice. And time, awesome job. Give your legs a good shake out, set your weights off to the side. We're gonna take it into some clock lunges. So you're gonna lunge a little bit forward. Think of it more as a transfer of weight and a pushing off. Lunge out to the side, push yourself back in, lunge behind you, push yourself back up, and then switch legs. Lunge forward, push yourself back up, lunge out to the side, push yourself back in, lunge back, push yourself forward, and then switch to the other leg. So we're alternating legs. We got 1 minute on the clock. Transfer your weight and then push yourself back into that midline. Make sure you reset if you don't have your balance before you lunge in a different direction. And only lunge as far as you can control so that your knees feel pretty happy. Nice work, you guys. 20 seconds left. All right, that's time. But if you're uneven, if you have side to finish, finish yourself up so you're not walking around crooked all day. And then when you're ready, one last time, grab your weights, heavy if you've got them. And it's just going to be a bicep curl and a heel lift. So as the hands come down alongside, you're going to lift your heels up, lower them with control, and then back to that bicep curl. Lift your heels, lower with control, pull the hands right up to the shoulders. Nice. Keep a slight firmness in your center. So hopefully we can find most of the work coming out of that bend and release of the arm and the lift and lower of the heels. And time, awesome job. Set your weights down. Give your legs just a little shake, make sure they feel loosened up after that, especially after that heel lift work. Might feel it in your ankles and your calves. Step your feet so they're about hip width distance apart. Take a nice big breath, reach up and overhead. Bend your knees a little bit, fold down to the ground. Let your hands touch the ground if they can. And then just take a couple of pedals of the legs. So you're gonna bend one knee and then the other. Nice, and then bend both knees, pull your abdominal muscles in, roll up to a standing position. Right hand's gonna touch the thigh, left hand's gonna reach up alongside your ear, take a nice big side bend. Beautiful, lift up and take it to the other side. Nice. Lift back up, take a couple of shirt sleeve twists here. Step your feet so they're just a little bit wider position, and let your heel pick up and move with you. Nice. Take one more little twist side to side, and then we're going to step the feet even wider. So find a nice wide stance. Either pigeon the toes in slightly or just find a lift from the soles of the feet. So we find a little bit of engagement in the inner thighs and the outer thighs. Take a big breath, reach up, hinge from your waist, reach all the way down to the ground. Cool, and then walk over towards your right foot. Let your nose soften towards your knee. Walk over towards your left foot. Let your nose soften towards your knee. Walk it back to center. Left hand is going to stay on the ground underneath your nose. Right hand's going to reach up for a little twist. Beautiful. Bring that hand down, placing that hand underneath your nose. Left hand's going to reach up to the sky. Beautiful. And then bring that hand down with your hands on the ground. Toe heel your feet in. Find a softness in the knees, a little bit of mobility in your ankles, and then bend your knees a lot. Pull your abdominal muscles in. Roll on up to standing. Take a couple of good shrugs of your shoulders and maybe a couple shakes of your wrists, because you guys did awesome work today. Grab your foam roller if